Hey there friends, welcome to the video. Hope you are doing really good today. And in today's video, I'm going to talk about brain fog and DPDR. What is brain fog? What does it mean and feel like when you're in it? And also, how do you get out of it? And so if you're new to the channel, then welcome. My name is Dan and I help people overcome their anxiety and their DPDR using coaching. And to all my subscribers, welcome back. And if you are interested in getting coaching with me, then you can book a free discovery call with me using the link down below. Brain fog is a really common symptom that comes with DPDR and anxiety. And it's one of the most sort of annoying ones because it sort of makes you feel a little bit dumb, so to speak, or a little bit slower, or perhaps not as sharp as you were before you had all this. And I actually experienced brain fog myself 24/7, and it wasn't really pretty. I mean, I was still able to function and do things, but sometimes, if there was a lot of noise, I'd have trouble thinking about what I wanted to say. Or if I was writing something down on a keyboard, for some reason I'd switch the letters around sometimes. It's almost like my fingers couldn't keep up with my brain, and that sort of connection wasn't there properly. So it just sort of makes you feel a little bit slower, a little bit not as switched on as you were. And it can really affect your concentration, and it can really have a big impact on your life. When you look online, and I did this myself too, about sort of remedies for brain fog and stuff like that, you see things like you've got to get good sleep, and maybe you've got low blood sugar and stuff like that. And while I think that is important, it's not really so relevant to the brain fog associated with DPDR, because when you have brain fog or a lack of concentration, if you're not anxious and you don't have DPDR, then it really is something like maybe you've got low blood sugar and you just need a rest, or you need something to eat, or you need good sleep. Having said all that, obviously eating well and sleeping well is important to your recovery, and I've done a number of videos on both of those things too, if you do want to check those out. But when it comes to brain fog, I found that, sure, when I did eat and when I did sleep well, it did sort of improve things maybe 1%, but the actual sort of base of it and the most impact of it was still there. So what are some things that you can actually do right now with brain fog? Well, the best thing that you can do right now is to start your recovery journey. And if you haven't started that, I've also got videos on my channel as well about making a recovery plan and what to do and where do you begin and all that type of stuff. Also, you can do things like making sure that you're not overworking yourself. I know some people like to really push themselves, and that can be beneficial for, motivation and powering through and deadlines and stuff like that. But if you can, then I recommend that you take some more sort of regular breaks just to give your mind a little bit of a rest. Now, why this is really important is because, anxiety isn't a thing. Okay, anxiety is a collection of thoughts and a collection of behaviors. And usually it's the thoughts which dictate the behaviors. And so what that means is sort of the way out of this is just to see what you're thinking about and seeing what's going on in your mind, and eventually you sort it all out and then you do come out of it. So there is a lot going on in your mind right now. You're probably thinking about, how do I get out of this? How long is this going to take? Why me? I wish I could get my life back to normal. I wish I could concentrate like I used to. I wish I could have the same level of output that I used to. And you might just be worried about other things in your life as well, which might not have anything to do with anxiety. So there's already a lot going on in your mind. And what you've got to remember too with anxiety and, with DPDR and all the other symptoms that come with it, is that it magnifies everything. So it takes something which might not be that significant, but because you're anxious, it's making it particularly significant. So this means that just everything is amplified in your life right now. Everything is bigger in your mind. And, that takes up a lot of space. And so basically what's happening with the brain fog is that your mind is really sort of focused on a lot of other things right now. So it doesn't really have that mental energy and that mental, sort of space to be able to get back to that 100% focus. And so that's where sort of the, the taking breaks things come back in. And that's why I used to do that too. And I still am a very hard worker, but when I was working hard, when I was going through the brain fog, it was like a point of diminishing returns. It was better to actually have a break for 10 minutes rather than just try and power through, because I'd just be making more mistakes. But you might sort of say to yourself, well, Dan, I'm not actually working right now, or, my job isn't that stressful and I'm actually quite like my job. I like to be able to do this stuff. And that's completely fine. I'm not necessarily saying that your job has to be stressful for this to be a more of a magnified thing. But all I'm saying is just that the more you do, the more brain power you're going to use, and the quicker that energy is going to get depleted. And your brain is already doing a lot of stuff. It's trying to constantly figure out what's out there that's scary. You're in the response of fight, flight, or freeze. So you want to fight the threat, you want to run away from it, or you just want to play dead and accept that you're just going to get eaten by whatever it is that's going to attack you. So you're already sensitized to all this stuff. Subconsciously, you're already looking at this stuff and you're already trying to figure it out. And your brain is in the habit now of looking for bad things and thinking that everything is worse than what it is, and trying to find problems and worrying about the future and all this type of stuff. So is it any wonder that you have brain fog right now? Think about it that way. Is it any wonder that you're going through this right now? And so with anxiety and recovery and getting rid of the brain fog and all the other symptoms, it really is just a matter of time. And I'm not just talking about sitting around playing video games all day or anything like that and just sort of waiting for it to happen. You have to be active for it to happen, because if you just sort of keep doing what you're doing now, if you're not seeing any improvements, then you've been down that road before. You know where that road leads. It's just going to lead to more of what's happening to you right now. So you can be a little bit proactive in terms of, things you're thinking and stuff like that. And my channel is covered with loads of videos all talking about all this type of stuff. When you are starting to go through recovery, the symptoms do start to lift. Because remember, these all are just symptoms of anxiety. So when the anxiety starts to lessen and eventually get back to having a healthy relationship with anxiety, then all this other stuff is going to lift by itself. So you don't necessarily have to work on getting rid of your brain fog. All you have to do is work on your recovery and make that your focus right now, because then you're pointing in the right direction, you're thinking in the right direction, you're focusing on the right things, you're making what's important to the forefront rather than the background, and all the stuff which isn't important, such as catastrophizing and worrying and toxic worrying about the future and looking at comments and reading Reddit and all this other sort of stuff that you do to try and get answers and to try and get reassurance and stuff like that. None of that stuff is really going to help you. What is really going to help you is to start on your journey of recovery. And once you do that, then all the symptoms are going to start to lift. And before you know it, you are going to be that sharp, crisp, critical, excellent thinking mind that that you've got, which is still in there. It's just a little bit cloudy right now. It's just a little bit foggy. So my friends, I do hope this video has helped. And if you do have any questions, then please leave them in the comments. I read all the comments and I answer as many of them as I can. And until next time, I'll see you all in the next video. Bye.